Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone Talks this weekend. How are you all? I hope you're enjoying your weekend. It's sunny here, but don't let that fool you. The weather's been absolutely atrocious. These last been very cold, very, very cold. But I hope you have all had a good week. We've had a decent week. So we're here to talk about some stuff that's happened, obviously, within the Doctor Who circles. And Jodie Whittaker. Obviously, it was announced that Jodie Whittaker is going to be doing an audio. So we'll talk about that. Doctor Who Legend of the Sea Devils airtime and episode length confirmed. And I want to actually talk a little bit about that as well, because for a special and the time, the length that it is on for, it just seems a bit unusual to me. So I want to give me thoughts on that as well. And obviously, if you haven't heard, a day ago, this is an actual headline from Pink News. BBC announced very gay, very trans Doctor Who spin-off series written by Juno Dawson. And I'm just going to read it and give my opinion, because there's a slight problem with this, and it's nothing got to do with the trans stuff. It's got to do with a trans activist being given a chance to act. Why not actually go and get a trans person to voice this character instead of an activist, who I believe activists do more damage than good than we've seen over. So I just want to read that and talk about that very briefly as well. A very interesting stuff going on. We've got 24 people watching right now. And we'll do a few shout outs there. And as I said, for this one, just read the articles. They're in the link description, by the way. All the articles. Won't be throwing them up on screen, but they are in the link description if you want to check them out for yourselves. I won't be reading the whole article either. Obviously, I'll go through the bits that we want to talk about. But let's see who we've got in the chat right now. We've got Lee Halford. We've got Shelley. We've got Holton in the chat as well. Welcome. Let's see who else we've got. Just bear with me, because this computer is playing up a little bit. We've got Shelley in the chat, as I said. We've got Dave Travels Through Time, Channel 2. Welcome. We got Disaster Area. Chris Persia is also in the chat. Queen Charlotte is also in the chat. Welcome, Queen Charlotte. Ezra Goldstein is in the chat as well. Nice to see you. And we've got Problem Being in the chat. Well done. Nice to see you, pal. We've got Teddy Terrier Tales, of course, in the chat. We've got Leland in the chat. We've got Scott also in the chat. And we've got Garbage in the chat. Welcome, guys. Peter D is also in the chat. And we've got Dave. And we've got Disaster Area also. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Right. Well, I suppose we will start with this Pink News article. So as I said, I'm not going to read all of it, but it's in the link description. So as I said, BBC announced a very gay, very trans Doctor Who spin-off series written by Juno Dawson. Doctor Who is launching a spin-off drama podcast penned by trans author Juno Dawson and starring trans activist Charlie Craigs. Doctor Who Redacted is a 10-part series set to premiere on BBC Sounds on the April 17th, which promises to deliver action-packed adventures that have been left from the sci-fi TV series. So my understanding is that they're basically doing stories that were penned for the shows that weren't, for whatever reason, weren't included in the show. Now, do I have a problem with a trans writer writing for Doctor Who in a podcast? No. My problem is that you're getting a trans activist though to voice a part. Why not get a trans actor or actress to voice the part? Anyway, listeners will be introduced to a range of characters, including Cleo Proctor, who will be voiced by trans activist and author Charlie Craigs in her first acting role. So no acting experience either. Just wanna make that clear. No acting experience. Look, I'm all for giving everybody opportunities, but what about those people that have worked hard in drama school and all of this to get where they are, to be overlooked by someone who has absolutely no experience? Um, they said there are no words to express how huge it is and how grateful I am being trans actress playing the lead. Oh, they are trans actress. Okay, playing the lead role in something so special, but more how significant the fact that my character is trans and the lead role too. This is a huge step for the trans community, and I'm so honored to be part of this moment. The audio drama promises to explore the relationships between ordinary people unknowingly immersed in the Doctor Who universe. Producer Ella Watts teased that it will be very gay and very trans. But here's the thing. Why'd you have to come out and actually say that? Why not just get down to business and do the work that's at hand? Release the podcast and let people find out for themselves who these characters are. Right? You're making it again. So far I've read this article, right? And all I've heard is that some stories that weren't fit for the sci-fi show are now going to be turned into podcasts, yeah? Right? And then it's like I've lost my train of thought there now. I mean, yeah. I mean, they're focusing on that. What have they actually told us about the story? Now, again, they've also said that the Doctor, some familiar voices, including the Doctor, Rani Chadera, Kate Stewart, Osgood, and Madame Vastra will also be part of this. Juno added that Doctor Who was their first love, and it's an absolute thrill to add to the ever expanding mythology in podcast form for the first ever time. So it's the first time they've ever done a podcast of this nature. What a total privilege to write something for so beloved and put my own little flag on the landscape. Very interesting term there, flag. You plant the flag like the Americans supposedly did when they landed on the moon, sort of thing. Bang, we've planted their flag, sort of thing. See, again, this is why there are always going to be suspicions about all of this. You can hear the language. They're not talking about the stories. So, according to the BBC, the story will follow a group of friends, Chloe, Abby, and Shauna, connected by paranormal conspiracy podcast called The Blue Box Files, which tracks the path of a mysterious object through history. The official synopsis reads, is this. What if this random police public call box was actually an alien ship? They don't know who the Doctor is or if the aliens are real, but soon find themselves caught in a supernatural conspiracy as they learn that everyone who has ever met the Doctor is disappearing and being forgotten. Essentially, they're being redacted from reality. The Blue Box Files is so unsuccessful that our heroes are the last ones to be affected by the redaction, making Chloe, Abby, and Shauna the world's only hope. Now it's a race against time to uncover the truth. Set in the same universe as the main series, okay? So it's set in the main main same universe. So is it the Flux universe? Redacted entangles past and current storylines, cameos from Doctor's friends and allies, and will also feature familiar monsters and aliens from the show's history. Interesting way to get Doctor Who stories out, though. Podcast. I don't know if fans will be actually down for stuff like that, Doctor Who and podcasts. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. But I mean, look. As I said, this is why I'm kind of delighted that Doctor Who is gone back to RTD and is with Bad Wolf Productions, because look, the RTD will put story first, and he will have his politics in it, and there will be characters that we'll meet because he has introduced LGBTQ plus characters into the show in the past, right? So we have no doubt that he'll do that again. The difference is that he'll actually give them some substance, and he'll give them great character development, and we'll be able to get behind these characters. Now, I'm not into podcasts really anyway, so this podcast thing is not my cup of tea, but I'm sure there will be people out there that will be into this. But it'll be interesting to see who actually watches. Can you find out on podcasts the amount of people that actually watch these stories? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. I don't know anything about how podcasts work. So if someone in the chat could tell me about that, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, the headline was a bit misleading there, because when I read the headline, it sounded like that it was a trans activist and not a trans person that was in the role. And the media have a responsibility. You shouldn't be writing the article that way. You should make it clear in the article. I'm sick of the clickbaity nature of these articles. So, again, the podcast thing for me, I mean, I'm not interested in what stories that we didn't get, to be quite honest with you. The stories that we did get for this current era are absolutely rubbish. So I don't expect, unless they're previously written episodes by Moffat and RTD, but if it's set, they said it's set in this universe, so it must be the Jodie Whittaker universe. So I've no interest personally. But I'm sure it will appeal to some people out there, especially people that are into Doctor Who and like podcasts and stuff like that. But let's go on to the next one. So it's Doctor Who Legend of the Sea Devils. Airtime and episode length has been confirmed. And without going into the whole article, it's a 50-minute episode. So it's set to air at 7:10 p.m. On Sunday, the 17th of April. So it'll be on until 8 p.m. So the radio times have to actually tell us, well, it'll be on until 8 p.m. I think we can all count time. I think we can all tell time. You don't have to tell us. We get it. 50 minutes. So I have to be honest with you. 50-minute special. Legend of the Sea Devils. Her second last episode. 50 minutes. I have to say it. I wasn't expecting. I was expecting it to be a lot longer. To be quite honest, it's her second last episode. Her second last episode, and you've given us a little teaser, and then now you've given us a proper trailer, and we get this 50 minutes. So I tell you, it must be very weak on story, folks. Very weak on story. 50 minutes for a special. That is an absolute joke. Because it's Chibnall. We know he needs more time. I'm telling you, man, 50 minutes, I don't think he's going to be able to wrap up all he needs to wrap up. Is he going to do it all in the centenary? I mean, there you go. They tell you January's New Year special Eve of the Daleks ran for 58 minutes. Okay, it's 8 minutes more, but it's nearly an hour. Like, why? I just, do you know what? It must be so bad they had to edit it down. It's the only thing I could think of. Because let's be honest, these trailers are always flashy, but he's let us down again. I mean, Flux is a disjointed, poorly edited, poorly acting piece that he threw out. I just think the Legend of the Sea Devils personally would have went over the hour mark. And I know it's only 8 minutes in the difference, but 8 minutes is a lot of time to you could tell a story or explain things that need to be explained, Chibnall. I don't know. What do you guys think anyway? Someone says stop complaining. It's less Whittaker, but that's not the point. This. Look, it doesn't matter. I don't like our doctor, but at the end of the day, if you're our second last episode, the rumor is they cut 15 minutes from the episode because scenes were deemed culturally insensitive. So what was fine 6 months ago isn't anymore, says Problem Being. I have seen that rumor on Twitter also. And I've seen a few people share it around that there has been editing done and that scenes were cut from it. Now, if we have to go from the past where we've reported on stuff being cut and edited, I would say there is some truth in that, to be quite honest with you. I would not be surprised. So 15 minutes were cut from it, well then you would have a runtime of over an hour and 10 minutes, wouldn't it? An hour and 10 minutes. That's what you would actually expect a special to be, especially a Doctor's second last one. I don't know. I don't know. This episode, Legend of the Sea Devils, I've already said I think it's going to be a car wreck, man, a train crash. I don't think it's going to be good. Yet the trailer does look sparkly and it looks lovely, and the Sea Devils redesign is great, right? But if we take that all away, right, what are we actually going to get? What is this man going to give us? He's going to give us no substance, what he's done all through Flux, right? And the proof is in the pudding. If you have to go on to the official BBC sites after Doctor Who Flux is finished and do a 15-minute video to try and explain to your audience what you are trying to do, then you have failed at your job. And again, this is going to be another failure. And I'm being honest with you. You know, if it goes to form, which I think this episode will, the centenary is just going to be as bad. It doesn't matter who he has in it. It doesn't matter if he has classic doctors or whatever, or he brings in some new doctors or extra doctors or what. It doesn't matter what he does, right? It's going to be rubbish, just like the rest of his era. He cannot give us that good. Flux started off decent. I will always say that Lee saw right through it, though. He said, oh, it's all flash and bang and there's no substance. And he was right in the end. He was right from episode one. But I still decided to give it another chance. Every week I was willing to give him another chance because he'd do something within all of those episodes that make me think, oh yeah, I want to see where this thread goes. But it never went anywhere. It never went anywhere. So this is just going to be another pile of crap. And Dan in the trailer looks like a bleeding clown, right? So we already know what's going to happen there with Dan. Poor Dan is going to be used as the butt of the joke, right? Just like Graham was, just like Tolson was, Ryan, I should say. Poorly developed characters, right? So, yeah. The centenary special is called the 500,000 doctors. Oh, feck off. I wouldn't be bleeding surprised. Anyway, I thought. I mean, look, I don't. People saying being petty about the length, but this is our second last episode. I was expecting a longer run time, but look, as someone in the chat has rightly said, it is less time to watch. So I suppose on that, but I'm not expecting anything fantastic from this episode. I'm going in with zero expectations, but I'll watch it and I'll give it a go, like I gave all the other episodes a go, and I will be fair, right? Series 11, I didn't enjoy at all. Cheryl will tell you that. I sat all the way through that with a grumpy face and was complaining all the way through it. Series 12, I was slightly better, but I didn't enjoy it. Doctor Who Flux was the only series where there were some elements, shock horror, that I actually did enjoy, and I wanted it to work out so bad. Right? But out of all of them, Series 13, I enjoyed a lot more than I enjoyed the other two, but still, he didn't deliver. He failed to deliver on the stuff that he promised. And, I'm sick of being let down now. So I'll go in with zero expectations. The only thing that I did say was to Lee and others backstage, I remember, the last time we spoke, was that I just hope, and I think I said it on stream as well, my only hope is that the Sea Devils come out of this unscathed. That's it. That's all I'm worried, that they'll come out and he hasn't done any damage to them or ruined their lore like he's done with other stuff in the series. In his run, I should say. So that's the only thing I'm actually hoping, is that the Sea Devils are kind of, they're untainted. They come out of this without him ruining them. Because remember, he's ruined the Daleks, he's ruined he's ruined the Time Lords, the Cyber Lords now, and all of this other rubbish, right? And there are some things that he did do, like the redesign of the Santarans. I did like the Judoon, even though he just put a mohawk on them, but I did like that little touch. He has done some good things, but I just hope that the Sea Devils, like the Judoon, in my opinion, came out of it unscathed. So let's hope they do as well. But here's the big news, obviously. So Jodie Whittaker, obviously we spoke about the and this connects to the Pink News article. So Jodie Whittaker will indeed star in this Doctor Who Redacted. And as I said, it will follow those group of friends, and it's a 10-part audio-based drama series, as I said. And Jodie Whittaker will play a significant role, apparently. And it does. So this is what they've decided to do. It's going to launch on the same night, the time that the Legend of the Sea Devils airs. So basically, when Doctor Who fans are all going to be watching Legend of the Sea Devils, they're going to drop this audio podcast thing. So again, they set this up all wrong. Why put it out on? Are you hoping that after fans? I mean, why put it out at the same time? Why not put it out after? So fans that have watched, obviously, Legend of the Sea Devils, that love Jodie Whittaker, then can pop over then and watch this. I know they can do that anyway, but to actually put it out at the same time seems a little bit weird to me. But BBC actually have done a lot of weird stuff, because it's just being revealed that all of this social media blackout that happened with the social media accounts, which we all knew anyway because we weren't stupid, right? But it's all come out now in the media because they think we are stupid. No, that's not us, right? There is a part of the fandom that are thick and didn't know that this was happening, but people that were in the know, like myself, knew this was happening. So the social media blackout, right? This was all part of the BBC's big promotional plan for Doctor Who Flux. So when you saw when the social media accounts went down that time, that was part of their strategy. Then when they came back, then the logo started slowly cracking, as if we didn't know anyway. Of course we knew, but we all said the same thing at the time. It was the dumbest thing ever, right? And then you have this, there's an article about, I didn't want to actually bring it up because I didn't put the article in, but basically, they're back. This is why they're up for this Webby Award thing for the promotion of Doctor Who Flux, right? But it was a disaster. That's not how you promote a series, right? We even said it. This series wasn't promoted. Doctor Who Flux wasn't promoted well, but they were doing it on social media. BBC thought, right? This is how stupid BBC studios are. They actually think that the Doctor Who fandom is all on bleeding Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, right? Because they did a whole social media promotion of the show instead of actually doing it on the bleeding TV, on social media as well at the same time, and all of this other stuff, the posters, the ads on BBC, the little teasers that RTD and Moffat used to do. But no, the brainstorming idiots at the BBC thought, I tell you what we'll do. We'll promote Doctor Who Flux on social media. No wonder 2 million people tuned in for Eve of the Daleks. No wonder Doctor Who Flux ended up... Look, I still think it would have been bad anyway, but would it have been as bad in the ratings as it is now if I had got a bit more promotion in the right places? No, I don't think so. I actually don't think so. I think it would have performed slightly better, but not much better. But this just goes to show you everything that has been wrong with the Chris Chibnall era. They have not promoted it in the right places. They've targeted the specific bloody audience while alienating the rest of the British public and the Doctor Who fans that are not on social media. These people need to understand, and RTD will also need to understand this. And this is not me having a go at RTD, but RTD now needs to understand, Bad Wolf Productions has it now, right? In conjunction with those idiots at BBC Studios, right? But what RTD must understand is, listen, your fandom is not on social media, right? All your fandom, the British public, are not on all social media. You need to get the show out there to a wider appeal now, right? The reason why it's this era of Doctor Who is not as popular because they failed to draw in the audience. They failed to draw in Doctor Who fans because they alienated them all. Look, we knew that Flux thing when it all happened. We were all doing videos on it. It was actually funny because we said, if this was all part of the promotion, this is a stupid way of doing it. We were actually laughing at it at the time. But this is why they're up for this Webby Award, right? Now, it's the 20... I checked it. It is a legit award thing. I thought it was one of these new award things that were just made up. But apparently, I think it's the 25th one or something. So it must have started in the early days of the internet when people start promoting on the internet and stuff like that. So it's a legit thing. But if they think that Flux promotion was fantastic, which the way they're all talking about it, they're all saying it was bloody magnificent. All of this Find the Doctor thing, the codes in the pictures that they were throwing out, this was all part. The phone call, do you remember the audio that we heard of Yaz's voice? Do you remember we even played it on this channel? All of that was part of the promotion of Doctor Who. Hashtag Find the Doctor, right? And there was clues out in the real world as well, right? But unless you are actually following this and unless you are actually invested in this, then obviously it'd have appeal to those people. But what about the rest of the British public and the Doctor Who fans that, we don't buy into all of this rubbish anyway, right? You just promote the goddamn fucking show, right? In all the places that you need to promote it, and then throw the fucking show out. You don't need all of this gimmick crap, right? That's all it is, gimmick crap. And where did it lead? To the lowest rated special that we've had since the show began. Okay? So that's where we are. And we still have idiots out there saying, oh, this is a successful era. Don't buy into all of the not my doctors and the Tardis own spin on how bad the ratings are. They're lying. They're not telling the truth. We are telling the truth. The facts back us up. It doesn't matter how many times or how many different ways you spin these ratings, right? You can get bleeding the Wizard of Oz to come in and spin them, right? It doesn't make a fucking difference. The ratings are the ratings, right? And you mean to tell me TV habits have changed? So when are these people, these Doctor Who fans and the British public that have disappeared, that haven't bothered watching, when are they going to watch? 10 years? 5 years from now? 3 years from now? 2 years from now? When are they going to watch? When? They're not watching. They're not watching for the simple fact is they're not getting anything good. And the British public and Doctor Who fans are not getting anything decent. They will not tune in. Simple as that. And it's been proven. 2 million live viewers. It came from the horse's mouth themselves on the other side. 2 million live views for Eve of the Daleks. And that's a success. Yeah. Pull the other one. Pull the other one. When RTD's era was here, before there was even all of that other stuff taken into account, and iPlayer views taken into account, RTD was comfortably getting 12, 10, 8 million viewers every week, right? It fluctuated, as it always does. And that's what we expected from Jodie Whittaker's era, for it to fluctuate, but it didn't. It kept going down and down and down and down and down and down. But yeah, failure is the new success in society. You can fail up now, folks. Remember that. It doesn't matter if you have talent. It doesn't matter if you have brains, intelligence. Yeah, if you follow certain cause, or you have certain beliefs, that will get you, land you a job now. Right? It's not about talent anymore. Remember the good old days when they used to just cast based on talent and stuff like that? They don't do that anymore. It's like, okay, we've got 5 choices for blah, blah, blah. I look at Batwoman. Batwoman's been such a success that they're actually pulling the plug on the show. Right? I mean, the Force actress Ruby Rose, we've all heard of the stuff that's come out about her since being on it. Apparently she wasn't a very pleasant person to be around. Then they recast, you know, and it's agenda. And all of these shows suffer because there's no good stories and they just force the agenda. That's why I'm glad RTD is back, because he had all that agenda in his first era. The difference was he incorporated it into his stories. It didn't feel like audiences were being hit over the head with a hammer, getting these issues forced down their throat. RTD did it naturally, right? And nobody was ever complaining. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say nobody was ever complaining. Of course, Doctor Who fans will always have issue with any series of Doctor Who. But the one thing that we can all agree on is when RTD does this sort of stuff compared to the current showrunner that we have now, RTD has done it better. And the proof is in his work from the past on Doctor Who. I stopped watching Supergirl and The Flash after 3 seasons due to the change of concentrating on gender and tick boxing instead of about the stories. But that's what happens in a lot of shows, unfortunately. But look, this can only go so far before something has to give. And we've already seen that it's starting to slowly change. I mean, look, you know, I think there are a few bright shoots that people in the know are starting to cop on, right? there's a proper way of doing all of this. Nobody has ever been against inclusion, and highlighting issues and representing different people in society. We've never had a problem with that. RTD did it very successfully, right? Chris Chibnall never has. He doesn't have respect for the characters that he's introducing. I mean, there are a number of examples throughout the Chris Chibnall era that are prime examples of how little he has of his understanding of human interaction and developing these characters. I mean, you just have to look at some of these characters that he's introduced. They've literally be on screen for maybe a minute. In one case, it was 20 seconds. And then a Dalek killed him. He says, "Oh, I have a boyfriend at home." Bang! Dead! There's your representation, but I'm taking it away after 20 seconds. This is why I've always had a problem with the Chris Chibnall era. He doesn't respect all of these characters that use all the fen so much. Right? It's done with no thinking or thought process behind it. It's like, okay, where can we stick in a gay man? All right, we'll put him in this scene and we get a Dalek to kill him. I'm sorry, I'm going to be harsh about it, but that's absolutely fucking disgusting. Right? He should have been given more of a role in the fucking show, develop his fucking character so when he does die, there's that emotional impact. But there's no emotional impact. There never is. It was the same with the doctor when Graham wanted to talk to her about his cancer. Oh, I'm socially awkward. No fucking consideration about how people and families that have suffered, right, due to cancer, how that would play with the public. But they found out soon and quick enough. But you did notice all the activists were coming out. Oh, no, you're all overreacting. I thought that was beautiful what the doctor did. Talking out his backsides. Talk to people that have actually lived through cancer, right? Survivors, people that have survived it. People, obviously, their families are being left behind. They've also, being affected by it. Talk to those people. Ask them how that scene played down with them. Right? This is the problem. If RTD had done it, he would have done it with respect. It wouldn't have been an afterthought. Just like everything feels in this current era. He has absolutely no respect. And it shows, because if the latest rumors are actually true, because I have seen them, the latest rumors about that 15 minutes were cut out because it was culturally inappropriate. Well, then that just goes to show you that he does not know what he is doing. Because how could you be that insensitive if you're in the know and you know what you're doing and you're in tune with society? Obviously, he's not. Obviously, he's not. Someone had to tell him after the fact, "Oh, Chris, I've just had to looking at that. You can't have that and that. That's culturally inappropriate." If those latest rumors are true, which I bet you they are. I bet you they are. Right? But we will have to say, obviously, without actual proof, it is just rumor and speculation. But based on past experiences on this channel, talking about stuff that we've talked about and the information that we've been given, I would say there is something in this. But this is what I'm talking about. And then I get attacked. Oh, yeah, you're this, that, and you're no. I'm seeing what you guys aren't seeing. Right? Yous are just happy to have a box checked. Right? But sorry, I'm different. I want me characters to be well developed. Yeah? I want me characters to be treated with respect. To be well thought out. To be part of a story plot that actually makes fucking sense. Not have them on screen for 20 seconds and then shoot them. And then when you get criticised, then in the next series, then bring in 2 gay astronauts to think, oh, there you go, we've sorted the issue. Like, what's he at? But this is what we've had to put up with. Right? He thinks that he does this, oh, I'm forgiven. And then we did actually see it then. Because when Yaz confessed her feelings to Dan about how she felt about the Doctor, what did we see on Twitter? Oh, all is forgiven with Chris Chibnall. It doesn't matter that he treated the LGBTQ plus community with disgrace, but he's doing Tasman and we're happy. Hypocrites. Literally starting to give out about him, but as soon as he indicates that he might do Tasman, they're all is forgiven. All is forgiven. He's given us Tasman. This is the greatest moment as a Doctor Who fan. Nothing about how shite the story was, by the way. It was just all about Tasman. They were doing their reviews, and it's very telling if you go and watch their YouTube channels, right? And look at their Twitter accounts. The only thing that they were talking about in that episode was Tasman. They didn't properly do a review of the episode. It was just Tasman this, Tasman that, Tasman. That's all we got. A lot of emotion, fake emotion, by the way, because they're pathetic, man. It's just pathetic. The episode was shit, but like Tasman's the most important thing to you all. Again, I will say what I said that night. You have just proven to the world that you ain't Doctor Who fans. You've just proven to the world you ain't Doctor Who fans. All you care about is Tasman. You don't care about what happened in the episode. And we've been saying this for years. These ain't Doctor Who fans, but unfortunately some of these idiots are influential within the BBC because they've gotten either jobs with Big Finish or the Doctor Who magazine, as we've seen, and that's the problem. We've got idiots being hired with no actual knowledge of the show, going on trying to lecture fans like us that we know nothing about the show and that we're bigoted, we're sexist, and we should get out of the fandom. I think they're the ones that need to go now. But anyway, that's all they're talking about, and that's what they'll be hoping for in the next episode. You can already see the articles as well. There's even some articles out there as well. Their side is talking about Tasman now. That's all they're focused on. They don't even give a shit about the Sea Devils. They don't give a shit about the story if the story is going to be good. All they're focused on is Tasman yet again. And that's who he's decided to pander to for these last few episodes. But it hasn't gone well for him because 2 million Eva the Daleks. And I don't even believe, even though that was the live figure that was given, I believe less actually watched it because people would have tuned out. Right? So I don't believe for 1 second there was actually 2 million bums sitting on their sofas watching this show. That's how bad it's gotten. That's it. That's exactly it. It's exploitation. Seriously, man. Doctor Who magazine's still going, yeah, but they recently had a sale again. Look, that magazine, if there is a proper clear out done in those organisations as well, then we could have some hope. But look, you know, Doctor Who magazine hasn't appealed to me since the RTD era anyway. So, you know, if obviously if we start getting the stuff that we used to get back in the day, then I might consider taking up Doctor Who magazine. But the problem is that there are people within that magazine that I don't like, and I've had personal run-ins with, actually. And then if they've cried and played victim, and then knocked off their social media accounts for a while to prove how pathetic they are to play the victim, then I come and get attacked, and then they come back on a couple of days and have a new outlook on life, and then within a couple of weeks same cycle again. So I'm not very fond of Doctor Who magazine right now, and I wouldn't support it until there's a clear out. And I would like a time team that actually has a mix of old and younger fans, the way it was originally. I think all voices do matter. But you look at the time team that they assembled, Ben Cook assembled, it's an absolute virtual signaling bunch of idiots that actually have no talent whatsoever. And even now Ben Cook is gone. So and Crystal D, as you know. So the magazine is run by idiots, written by idiots, and that's why it's struggling. And that's why there's 50%, 75% off. There was Jordan before Flux, if you remember. There's now another sale on. The magazine is struggling. The magazine is struggling, and the only hope is that RTD can reinvigorate the whole thing. Obviously, I don't think he has any say who runs the magazine, but if he's given exclusives and it sticks to Doctor Who and the stories and the characters and stuff like that, then I think the magazine can survive. But you know, we'll just have to wait and see. Doctor Who has always been a show for all up to Jodie's era, when they only concentrated on a certain part of the community. I do agree. And even some of these people contradict themselves, because they say that they became fans in 2005. Well, there you go. You've contradicted yourself right there. If Doctor Who didn't have huge appeal as it did back then, you wouldn't have became a fan in the first place. So then to come out and actually say that Doctor Who is not diverse enough and is not inclusive enough is a blatant lie. You just have to look at Doctor Who's past and look at its recent past to see that it's been all those things. Just because you come in now, you're in the fandom now, and you've become a fan of the show, doesn't give you the right now then to start dictating to the fans which way we should behave and how we should comment on certain Doctor castings, and then try and educate us by saying that we actually don't know Doctor Who lore properly. This is how it should be, and you try change it to fit your own narrative. That's not going to work with us either. We don't buy into that. We've watched this show. Some people that follow me have watched since the very beginning. I watched in the 80s with a lot of people in the chat as well. Some in the 70s, some as I said, when it first started. Right? But it doesn't matter where your starting point is. The most important thing to remember is when you come into the fandom that Doctor Who is truly for all people. But this era has made it clear that it isn't. It's for a certain demographic out there. And unfortunately, when you just concentrate on a certain demographic, there's going to be consequences to that. The show has to have worldwide appeal. And right now, it doesn't have that. And it doesn't matter, as I said, what those YouTube accounts are saying. It doesn't matter what Mickey Mouse Awards Doctor Who is winning, right? It doesn't matter what acting accolades Whittaker is winning. They all mean nothing. Look at the awards that they're actually winning compared to the awards that you're winning under RTD and Stephen Moffat. They're not major significant awards. Some of them have even been just made up the same year that Whittaker was actually cast. Right? They're not actually winning out in the significance whatsoever. Any significant award that they've been up for, they have failed to win. It's actually become so bad that they've even failed to put Doctor Who forward for certain awards because BBC have lost faith in it. And be under no illusion, BBC had lost faith with the RTD era after Series 11. But they pour all their eggs in one basket and they had to play it out. And this is how it's played out. And it's played out so badly that they've had to go cap in hand to the man that made it a success in 2005 to try and revive this show. And be under no illusion, Jodie stands and Tasman stands, Be under no illusion, all you Twitter accounts out there and YouTube channels that have spun these, be under no illusion. This era of Doctor Who failed because of obviously what we've just talked about. Another factor is a showrunner that obviously didn't understand the topics of and subjects that he was tackling, didn't understand the role of the Doctor, and didn't know how to write sci-fi. And then you had an actress, right, who was cast in the role, who shouldn't have been cast in the first place. And I will add that the female Doctor experiment has failed. Now, one of the Time ladies out there has put out a ridiculous tweet. Obviously, I put it up in my latest video, covered the name because I don't want her crying. But I did put the tweet up, right? And she's come out with this narrative now. And this will be the narrative, by the way. She's written articles for I think it's either Screen Rant or Digital Spy, right? So she's in the media as well, right? So this is why I wanted to bring it up. And this is why I've been reminding you guys, if you've noticed, I've put up a couple of videos lately showing you the Rotten Tomatoes score for this era, and then go back to the Rotten Tomatoes scores throughout from 2005 all the way up to Peter Capaldi. And it's quite shocking. Media and critics and fans were almost identical when it came to the first 10 series of Doctor Who. Well, not 10. There was a slight big gap there with that one. But all of the rest of them, critics, media, and fans were all kind of in agreement that these episodes and this series were great. Then you go and you look at the Jodie Whittaker one, and you see the audience score to the critics score, and the gap is huge. And I asked, have the media lost all credibility? Then I did another video where I was showing you how we were painted, the media set the narrative of anybody that had a problem with Jodie Whittaker's casting was a sexist bigot. I even showed you that famous screenshot, but if you've watched the clip, there's a part in the video, the stylist video that Jodie Whittaker did, where she goes, hashtag Dr. 13, hashtag good riddance. You remember that hashtag? Well, I took a screen. She didn't play the part very well either, but I'm just going to say this, right? The female Doctor experiment has failed. Now, this woman is trying to set the narrative that if they cast another Doctor, that it will give validation to people like myself. Now, she didn't mention me, but she said the other side. She doesn't, I don't think she uses the term not my Doctor, not as much as the rest of them do. But she basically said that we would then set the narrative that it was true, that the female Doctor did fail if they cast another man. And then at the end, she contradicts herself, and then she turns around and says, but I'll be happy who they cast. But I don't want, but basically she says, right, and this is the part of the message that actually makes me laugh, right? And this shows how hypocritical this person is. She says, I have no problem with who they cast, but I would like them to keep on this path, this route or something, because I don't want to go back to what we had for the last 50 years. So basically what you're saying is don't cast a man. Because what other exciting new way could you go with it? Because we've tried the female Doctor. So unless you're talking about a trans Doctor, or you're talking about a non-binary Doctor, or whatever kind of Doctor you're talking about, you haven't explained. But that's the contradiction, right? But they're setting the narrative. They're planting the seed. And the Hugh Grant rumor was very telling. Because look at the YouTube channels. Look at the accounts again, setting the narrative. Oh no, we can't have another male Doctor, especially a white male. Oh no, blah, 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 blah. When did it become a disgusting thing to cast the bloke as the Doctor? Bottom line is this. Female Doctor experiment did fail. That's a fact. The ratings back it up. The merchandise sales gone down backs it up. Doctor Who magazine backs it up, right? You even look at the trailers, the decline in the viewers of the trailers over the years backs it up, right? We've showed you the ratings. We've all showed the ratings, right? The exact same ratings, but different people have different spins on it. The reality is it did fail. And it failed because of the things that we've talked about. The failure of Chris Chibnall to understand the Doctor, understand sci-fi, and understand these characters that he wanted to introduce, right? He can't connect with them at a human level like RTD can, right? Casting Jodie Whittaker has actually set back any chance of another woman taking the role, in my opinion. And, she has to bear responsibility for that as well. I mean, there was an article before she left, she thought she ruined it, and then she was convinced by other people that she didn't. You did ruin it, and you've ruined it for any other woman to take over. Now, there are rumours that are flying about, but they're coming from Reddit, they're coming from Gallifrey base and stuff like that. And they've said that the casting has already happened, and that it was done in November, and they're casting another woman to the role. Now, if that is true, because I haven't heard anything about it, but if that is actually true, that's the final nail in the coffin for this show. You cannot go from the shit show that we've had for the past 5 years and go from the most divisive doctor, in the history of the show, and then go with another woman and thinking that fans are going to finally accept it. The bottom line is whether BBC, the Tasman stands or the Jodie stands understand this. A female doctor will never be accepted. Period. Right? It doesn't matter if people's opinions have softened and changed over the years. Right? Bottom line is the majority of fans out there believe, just like James Bond 007, they are male roles, male characters. And as soon as you start changing that and changing the gender, we've seen it's not the only show that suffered from doing the exact same thing. Right? So it's time to cop on, it's time to wake up, and it's time to come to the realization that if you do not respect this franchise from here on in, and I'm not talking about Chibnall, I'm talking about the next people that take over now. If it's not done properly, don't even bother. Don't even bother is what I would say. Because I'm sick and tired of having that show dragged through the mud. And for what? And for what? What good has it done it? So go back to a male role. Don't be listening to these little idiots on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. Right? Go back to what the Doctor should be. And what you, RTD, refer the Doctor as, which is a man. Now, I don't care, and I'm going to say this, and I don't care how controversial this is with anybody, right? And it shouldn't be controversial, but I don't give a flying fuck what the skin colour of this Doctor is, right? But for me, it has to be a bloke, okay? And you cast the best bloke for the part. All right? Now, I thought Hugh Grant would be, and I still wouldn't rule him out, by the way. I still think there's something fishy going on with that Hugh Grant one. But I wouldn't rule him out. Right? But for me, personally, it's got to be a bloke. You go with another woman, you're setting yourself up to fail. And by the way, if the rumours of this extended universe is actually true, well then you can do your female spin-offs. You could please everybody here if you do it the right way. Right? You can actually please all fans. Listen, we can watch the main show Doctor Who and enjoy it. They'll probably do spin-offs that aren't necessarily aimed at us, but the Whittaker era was aimed at, they could do spin-off shows, right? We wouldn't necessarily watch them, probably wouldn't be our cup of tea, right? But it'd be there, the fans that like this era, it's cup of tea. So then you create other spin-offs. Then you have the main universe. You could do all of this, right? They could have done this a long time ago. Okay, budget is a bit restrained back in the day. It won't be now. Exactly. A female doctor is just not popular. I don't care how they spin it. Listen, fair play. When our first episode dropped, she got the record numbers, the highest numbers for views ever. Right? It was always going to be the most watched. We even said that before running up to our first episode. We actually said that she would get. None of us denied that. We said our first episode was going to do very, very well. And it did. But look at the second, third, fourth episode. By the fourth episode, right? And then look after that, and then Series 12, and then Doctor Who Flux. Hasn't gotten any better, folks. Hasn't gotten any better. Less and less people are watching with each season going by. But apparently TV habits have changed, and these magical people will eventually watch and will boost the numbers, apparently. But spin all you want. The female doctor experiment failed. And to set this narrative now that casting a male doctor will set the show back, because that's the narrative, boys and girls. Right? If they cast another bloke, it'll set the show back, apparently. Bad news. And the reality is, casting a man right now will be the best thing for the show. And I'm sorry that's hard to hear, but that's the reality. That's the reality of the situation we're in. Actually casting a man right now would feel fresh and would give a boost to the show. But we'll see what RTD does. We'll find out. Look, there's rumours that there might be something after the Legend of the Sea Devils or before. I don't know. It would be peculiar. But let's be honest, his announcement was made while the Chris Chibnall era Tardis Flux was about to drop anyway. So I wouldn't rule that now. But the casting is very important. But seriously, we'll see. I just, as I said, I think the experiment has failed. But they are setting up the narrative. So keep an eye on that, folks. Because you'd already seen it happen with the Hugh Grant so-called rumour. And if he hadn't have actually come out and dismissed it, we'd still be hearing from these fans how casting Hugh Grant would be horrible. Then they dig up his past, and then, of course, we'd have to deal with all of that other rubbish as well, So, in a way, Hugh Grant coming out and actually quelling and squashing the rumours has probably done him a favour, and the BBC, Bad Wolf Studios a favour, if he has actually been cast. But we'll have to see. Look, as I said, the rumours, the other side are just concentrating on female actresses. Actresses. They're already concentrating on actresses in their rumour videos. They're not even going in there any blokes being rumoured. And he only talked about the Hugh Grant one to come out and say that he said he wasn't going to be the Doctor. So there was a bit of relief with those fans there, because they're still adamant. Because this is the thing, and this is the sad thing, and this is how they think. And this is why they hate me so much. Because they think I can't see what they're doing. I can see exactly what yous are doing. Basically, your way of thinking is, because yous are idiots, is this. If RTD casts another woman, it validates Jodie Whittaker's era and everything that she's done, and it proves that she was a success because RTD has gone with another woman. But that's not the case. And that won't be the case. And even if he does go with another woman, just to let you know, It won't validate anything Miss Whittaker did with Doctor Who. It's still shy. It's still shy. You can't polish a turd. A turd will always be a turd. And that's exactly what it is. Right? So it won't be validation. Right? It'll be just proof that they're clueless. They're idiots. So that's why they need the next doctor. That's why they're so adamant that the next doctor be a woman. They need to validate Whittaker's era. And in their tiny little pea brains and the lack of intelligence that they have, if RTD casts another woman, that's the validation. Oh, Whittaker was successful. Right? That's what we're going to get. And then, do you know what? They're going to be twice as worse as they were now and say, ah, ha, 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 Whittaker was fair, you were wrong, yeah, not my doctors, ha, ha, hope you all die in a car crash and all these other rubbish that you don't. That's why it's important that he breaks the cycle, because these fans need to understand, or activists, or whatever you want to call it. They're not fans, but I'll just say fans. They're not fans, fake fans. But what they need to understand is that it is a failure. And either way, it doesn't matter. You cast another woman, still a failure. She still failed as the Doctor. And they cast another woman, it's going to be written by RTD. Yeah, I think the next Doctor should be a bloke. But will RTD do a female Doctor better than Chris Chibnall will do a female Doctor? I think everybody in the chat will agree with me that if they had a choice between the two, it doesn't matter what your personal feelings are that the Doctor's a male, right? I'm asking this question hypothetically. If it was written under RTD, we've seen what Chibnall has offered us. We already know how RTD writes. Can people in the chat tell me, would you choose RTD's female Doctor over Chris Chibnall female Doctor? Because I know I would. Because I know it'd be better written. But I don't want the female Doctor. It failed. I want a male Doctor. And I don't care how that comes across. You can call me sexist. I don't give a shit. 50 years it was one way and it worked. You go with a woman for the first time and everything falls apart. Now, you can analyse it and say that there was an element of fans out there that were sexist and we're never going to accept it. That is true. That is true. Right? But you also have to take into account the British public, the American public that are watching Doctor Who during the RTD, especially the Moffat era, and how successful the show was then. Right? This show is supposed to have worldwide appeal. It didn't. It didn't. And one of the main factors to that is because you did cast a woman. Because it's a certain way for 50 odd years and then you go and do this and then you don't really explain it. And then some fans were saying, well, I'm glad they didn't make a big deal out of it. Well, I'm sorry. Fuck you. 50 years of history. You need to explain that shit to me. Right? And it was never explained properly. And then he tries then to explain it by giving us all this timeless child nonsense. All right, I'll explain it to you. Well, the Doctor is actually this, blah, 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 blah. There's about 5,000 bleeding doctors now. There's not 13, there's 5,000 or something fucking doctors or whatever it is now. Right, adding doctors that don't, adding even comic relief doctors, right, to try add them all to canon, to make them all canon. That's how ridiculous this man has been. Right? So you got Whittaker not being right for the role and being a terrible actress, and then you got a showrunner who clearly was clueless. Anyway, I think the next Doctor will be male. I don't know. Look, all the rumours I've heard is that there's blokes linked to the role. But these Gallifrey and Reddit rumours are kind of... I'm keeping an eye on them. For the simple fact is that the particular person that's throwing up stuff has been right about stuff now. The latest rumor apparently is from that person, but through a third party because they're sick. And this is why I'm kind of dismissing this one to a certain extent, because not coming from the horse's mouth itself. This could be some fucking idiot that's actually doing videos on YouTube coming out with leaks, right? And is making up shit on these platforms themselves. Listen, be under no illusion that these idiots that are doing videos with leaks, question marks, that were calling me out for calling them leaks, right, are now doing the exact fucking same. Don't be surprised, because one of them has already admitted that one of their friends was making, one of their friends actually come out and said, yeah, we were making up rumors and they were reporting on it, right? So there's still some of that going on, because they're trying to set the narrative. Oh, it is a female doctor. Oh, the female doctor was cast in November, blah, blah, blah. RTD himself came out over the Christmas period and said that they were only doing auditions at that stage, right? They were starting audition process. So how could the female doctor, or the new female doctor, be cast in November when RTD came out the Christmas period himself? Because you fans had spread a rumor that we were going to get some sort of reveal, and he came out to dismiss it, and then also added, oh, by the way, we're actually only doing auditions now. So why would he lie? He's no reason to lie. He's got plenty of time until his era comes around, till the 60th. He doesn't need to lie. It makes no sense. He hasn't cast anybody. But look at their videos. They're all, oh, this woman's connected to the role. Oh, no, she's connected to the role. And she's connected to the role. And then as soon as one bloke is mentioned, oh, shock horror, white male, we can't have it now. I'm sick of it. These not my doctors. They can't get out their way, you know. Because that's all it means to them. They want to stop us for fans getting what they actually want. This is what it boils down to, is that these fans, these activists, these Jodie stans, Tasman stans, don't want us to get what we want. Because it will show up. I'm telling you now, RTD casts a bloke, right? And this narrative that they're setting, that when, and by the way, she did actually add about RTD, if the ratings are very good and it's popular with the mainstream media, it will set the false narrative that Jodie Whittaker's doctor failed. It did. It did. And go and watch those two videos, by the way, on Rotten Tomatoes and the media one that I did as well. Go and look at it. Very interesting. You'll see, look at, I'm only being, people will probably question why I'm doing videos like that. I just want to remind you guys what we've had to put up with for the last 5 years, and how the media, critics and fans are so far apart on this. It's unbelievable. I just wanted to remind you all of what we've actually went through the last 5 years, because I think it is important to reflect on what has happened and analyze what's happened. And these little videos are my way of actually kind of doing it, and it helps me to move on as well, because I've had to put up with a lot of shit over the last 5 years, like a lot of you that also follow me. You know what I'm talking about. So these videos kind of help me move on, but it shows me the way the media set up the narrative, the way these fans went on. And listen, I could have went into more detail. I could have showed you all the disgusting posts. I could have showed you the Crystal Lee posts. I could have showed you the Ben Cook posts from the very beginning, the way they were talking to fans. I could have showed all that. I could have actually have put up Jodie Whittaker's stylist video somewhere. I'll have to root it out and re-upload it for you guys again, just to remind us the way she carried. She didn't help the situation either. All of this is relevant, because they cannot make these same mistakes again. Because if they do, and if they do cast another woman doctor and she starts coming out with all of this nonsense about how it empowers women and all of this other rubbish, just shut the fuck up right there, right? Just do your research, right? And then play the role the best you fucking can, and we'll see how we react then to it, right? But I don't want to hear any, powerful women, how little girls can now enjoy the show because they didn't enjoy the show that all the other years, because Doctor Who didn't have female fans back in the day. female fans. Do you know what? It's that is the biggest myth of this whole era, is that Doctor Who wasn't inclusive to little girls and grown women. I mean, my wife is proof. Charlotte, Melina, but there's other girls that we know and women out there that we know that watch Doctor Who. Most of the activists are female in the fandom. Like, where did you come from if Doctor Who wasn't inclusive and didn't allow women in the fandom? And to make it sound like that it was a men's club and that women weren't allowed to come into the Doctor Who circles. What a pile of crap. What a pile of crap. If you even look at the reviews back in the day in the newspaper, yeah, there was women even talking about the casting of Patrick feckin' Troughton. It was a show run by a woman, directed by a gay man. Don't be giving me Doctor Who wasn't inclusive. And then when it comes back in 2005, same thing again. Showrunner, gay man. Did anybody have a problem with that? No. Anyway, I'm going to head because I have what you call it, other stuff that I need to get ready for tomorrow's stream, and may bring on a few guests as well tomorrow. We'll see. But I am going to be talking a couple of new movies that I have watched, a couple of TV shows as well. That's Contact tomorrow. Come and join me for that. Again, as I said on Twitter, you know, we kind of try to keep world politics off this channel. I think a lot of channels have lost their way. They've become political echo chambers. Pop culture seem to take a side show now, unless there's something major that they need to bitch and moan about. But it's mostly about, you know, how Trump was great and Biden is shit and all of this other rubbish. And I don't care what your opinion is on it. People signed up to these pop culture channels because you promised them that you're going to talk about the major TV shows out there and movie releases and review them and give your opinions on them. But I see a lot of channels straying away from that. So come and join us for that. That's our pop culture stream tomorrow, Contact. And we will be talking a couple of things that I've watched and I would like to recommend too. So, yeah. So that's tomorrow. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for joining me tonight. It's nice to see you all. We got Lee there, Garbage, Teddy Terrier Tales still. Cheryl actually stayed for a whole stream. Yay! We got Daniel as well, and all you other guys and ladies in the chat. I think I seen. Did I see Gobby Guy in the chat there earlier? And the classic 80s fanboy. Liam Neeson's chin, welcome. I hope your chin is okay, mate. And Leland also joined us as well. Real super doctor in there as well. Nice to see us all. But look, as I said, casting, you know, we'll see what happens with that. But don't be listening to bullshit artists out there. They're only doing it for clicks. And it's working, unfortunately, because a lot of people are, you know, they're so desperate for information now that they're going to these clowns. And these clowns are just like a big Star Wars clown out there that was giving Star Wars fans false hope. These fans are doing the same. I've no time for them. I think they're pretty disgusting to be coming out with falsehoods and leaks and saying that they're leaks when they're getting them off Reddit. And they're getting them off Gallifrey base. Unless you're getting proper leaks or proper source information, you know, you shouldn't be putting out bullshit stuff like that. You should actually make it clear to your audience that you've gotten these rumors off Reddit and not clickbait, which is our thumbnails either, that I got used to get accused of. It's funny how these people accuse me of all of this stuff, and they're the very same people that are doing it now. Right, and they're doing it for the clicks, and they're doing it for the money, because they see the money rolling in now, because a lot of them have big channels, bigger than mine anyway. So they're seeing the money coming in with these so-called fake rumors. They see that it's very lucrative to talk shy. So that's what they're doing, you know. So don't be listening to them. Wait for, as I've always said, wait for, even with the stuff I've put out, what have I always said to you guys? Wait for official confirmation. Until then, it's all rumor and speculation. And if you're getting off Reddit, 4chan, or Gallifrey base, well then I would actually take them with a very, very minuscule pinch of fucking salt, because that's how low I rate rumors on them sites, right? And a lot of them are started up with the very same people or their friends of those people that are actually leaking this stuff. So watch out for the hacks, right? But you know, they'll all be proven wrong when the actual announcements are made, and then they'll look like idiots. But then the people that follow them, they've just fooled all of them, and I think that's disgusting personally. But there you go. You know, social media has a different rules, doesn't it? Anyway, I'll leave it there. Enjoy your weekend. We're back tomorrow for Contact, as I said, so come and join us for that. Look forward to that tomorrow. There's a couple of TV shows I want to talk about. I recently watched Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And all I will say is I'll go into more detail tomorrow. But all I want to say is this is how you do a bloody sequel. This is how you make a sequel bigger and better, but keep the same emotional tone as the first one. The director who directed this directed the first movie. So again, it's that same director dynamic, which I think does work. If you're doing a trilogy like this, I think it is. I mean, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy is the perfect example of that. You know, so this is a good second movie in it. I would actually say it's probably slightly better than the first one. But I won't go into detail, but I've already seen the salty media critics. Look, they just can't give this movie any props whatsoever. I remember when Sonic the Hedgehog 1 came out, Birds of Prey wasn't even out, right? But you had people up on Twitter saying, oh, I brought me son and me husband to go and see Sonic the Hedgehog. I found the movie very toxic, and I took my son and my husband out of the cinema and we went to watch Birds of Prey. The funny thing about that is that Birds of Prey wasn't even out at the time, and people were laughing, you fucking idiots. You can't even actually come out with a decent fucking lie. Like, Birds of Prey is not even out. So there are a few media critics out there that are very salty about this. I seen one critic that actually said that it's Jim Carrey that holds this movie together. Absolute bullshit. He is brilliant in the movie, but this is Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. But this is Sonic's story. This is in the first movie. It was about friendship between him and Donald Lord, and him being alone and not being part. You know, he kind of, if you watch the first one, you will see he's in Green Hills. He's there. He's been part of the town for years, but nobody knows him. He's lonely. And, you know, this movie, the second movie, celebrates friendship and stuff like that. I thought it was a great movie. So these critics don't know what they're fucking talking about, right? These salty critics need to stop. I'm sorry that they didn't force agenda into Sonic the fucking Hedgehog, even though there are agendas in the movie. Story comes first. But because it's not the way you want it to be and it's forced in, you have a problem with it. The two movies are absolutely brilliant. And if you still haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog and you are debating whether you should see it or not, my advice is to go and watch these two movies. They will. Do you know what they remind me of? You know those 80s movies that you used to watch as a kid that would make you feel good, but also, you know, there'd be emotion in there. You'd watch it and it'd be an emotional roller coaster, but it'd have a happy ending. Well, a sort of happy ending. But it'd have a happy ending. That's what these movies are like. That's what these movies are like. I love them. I love this franchise, and they've already actually before the second one was released, they already announced that they were doing a third one. So it just goes to show you that Paramount was so confident about this that they actually greenlighted the sequel before the sequel of the first one had actually come out, and rightly feckin' so. And again, another movie that I want to talk about that Lee has actually brought up that I have watched is the new Ryan Reynolds movie, The Adam Project. So yeah, lovely father-son relationship in it as well. I'm telling you, this Sonic the Hedgehog 2, like Sonic the Hedgehog, had heart. And these salty critics are doing my head in, right? If you don't like the fucking movie, and some check mark put on Twitter, right? They took a clip from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 where Jim Carrey's character, Dr. Robotnik, and the Donut Lord are having a conversation at the door, and they're talking about breastfeeding, right? And this idiot on Twitter goes, "So this is in a family movie." So I responded, and I wrote, "You do realise it's a family movie, that it has to appeal to both kids and adults, right? So which means there has to be some adult humour in these movies to appeal to the adults that bring their kids to the fucking cinema to go and watch it. How fucking stupid do you have to be, and how offended do you have to be to come out and give that about it?" Because I can tell you, watching movies during the 70s and 80s, well, the 80s mostly, because I was born in the 80s, what am I fucking talking about? The 80s, right? If you have a problem with Sonic the Hedgehog, well, then you're going to have a problem with every single fucking movie we grew up and watched. Family movie. Because if you think that was bad, I went back and watched all family movie and I said, Jesus Christ, did they really say that to me as a kid? But it flew over my head at the time because I was a fucking kid. These people, I swear to good bleeding God, man, offended over the least little thing. But come and join me for contact tomorrow, right? I'm going now. I said that 10 minutes ago, but I'm definitely going now. But listen, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you tomorrow where we talk about all of those things that we've just brought up now. And yeah, so enjoy the rest of your weekend. And for anybody that follows me on the other channel, I will be streaming on there. Go and check that out. So I will see you for now. Talk to you tomorrow, folks. Good night. Stay safe. And look after yourselves. Bye.